this is definitely the most like technologically advanced that you've ever seen the characters be, or just the whole setting in general. And so you'll see throughout the movie, like for example, they have all this technology of like when the government guys are chasing Ethan through the airport, and they have this face monitoring technology that they're scanning every single person that's walking through the airport, and they find Ethan. But then when the tech people, IT people who are advising the people on the ground who are chasing Ethan, they're telling them, okay, this person on your right, 3 feet in front of you, he's there, that's him. But then whenever they would go catch that person, when you would see the actual person's face, it was not Ethan's face. And the reason for that is because someone on the IMF team, he was hacking into their face recognition technology so that he was able to superimpose Ethan's face on a stranger's face. He would pick other people in the airport that had the same body type, the same build as Ethan Hunt, and put Ethan's face on it so as to throw off the bad guys. What I wanted to say about this is that this speaks to the fear that a lot of people have about the advancement of technology, in the sense that, we're looking at a future where your every move can be traced. Even if you're just walking into a supermarket or walking through an airport, we have enough data on everyone. We have sophisticated technology that can literally track you and like basically download all of your information, all of your life history by just scanning your face for a fraction of a second, right? And so I think to many people, that's a very scary prospect. There's validity in that for sure, but I don't know. I also have kind of a different take on it. Being a 90s baby, being somebody who grew up during the height of, Facebook, social media. Before Facebook, there was Zanga. Okay, let's not forget. Before MySpace and Facebook, there was Zanga. And what was it, like Angel Fire? I never had an Angel Fire blog, so that was like slightly before my time, but I definitely had Zanga. I had AOL chat, I had MySpace, and then we had Facebook, and then we get Instagram and Twitter, and now it just like blew up from there. From my perspective, like as a millennial that was there for I feel like the entirety of the evolution of the world into this huge interconnected virtual, social media space that we see today, I find some comfort in the fact that there is a record of you and everything that you've ever done at any given point in time. So obviously not, obviously if you're not on the run for some sort of federal crime, like that's not useful to you at all for people to be able to locate you that quickly through using technology. But hopefully, luckily, you're not a criminal in real life, right? Hopefully you're just a good ordinary civilian trying to make the best of your time here on Earth. I don't see anything particularly wrong with that, right? As long as you live in a free country, of course, if your government is not corrupt. I think about the opposite that was true back in ancient times, like medieval times. The complete opposite, right? We had no way of really tracking people other than writing things down in tablet or in stone, family, handwritten family records or whatnot. But they didn't even have photography even to remember people by. I find that in the opposite direction, but I find it equally kind of sad and terrifying, right? To imagine myself living in that time and having no one remember who I was. Like, let's say that I got lost, or I don't know, I got into some sort of fatal accident, and there was if I was away from my village or my family, who would even find me? Right? Like, who would locate my body? What if my body was disfigured beyond recognition? How would my family it would be a very low chance of them even getting any sort of news or closure about my death, right? Like, there would be no body, there would be no way for, even if somebody like found me on the side of the road dead, how would that person communicate back to my village? How would they even identify me to bring news of my passing back to my family and loved ones? Personally, as somebody who is of the 21st century, I find that more despairing and more depressing, honestly, than a world where we kind of have like hyper visibility, excessive even amounts of records on every single individual that's ever walked the planet. Hey, at least you have some sort of blueprint, right? At least people know who you are. At least, God forbid anything did happen to you, that news would get back to your parents and your loved ones in a matter of seconds, maybe hours, right? Maybe a day at most if you're like on the other side of the world. But it's just something that not only do you have that information because of our technology systems these days, or like the data collection systems, not only do you have the information, the time that it would take for it to get back to your next of kin is light years compared to what it would have been in medieval times. So I want to leave you with that thought, because that's the way that I look at it. And I think that that is kind of also the one of the overall like overarching messages that this film is trying to give. Even though the AI entity is kind of like wreaking havoc, putting people in all these life and death situations, the film makes it very clear that the people who are getting themselves in a tizzy over all of this, the people that are making all these conflicts is not the AI itself, it's the humans, right? So it just enforces the idea, which I believe in deeply, that technology itself is very, very neutral. It has no type of like morality. It's not a bad or a good thing inherently. It is solely up to the intention of the user, right? How humans choose to use technology is what makes it harmful or bad.